welcome. It is so nice to have a return to a fully seated luncheon and to see all your faces in person. We are so excited. It's amazing how quickly a year can transpire. Stacey Bewkes, my co-chair, and I welcome you all. We thank you for your support. This is such an anticipated event, and so many people look forward to this. So without all of your presence, and so many of our sponsors who are present, primarily William Ravis. I think Bill is here today, if you want to wave your hand. Our leading sponsor, thank you, thank you. Cherish, and if anyone here, wherever you are, please raise your hands, thank you. Nantucket Looms, all of you guys, who also provided our beautiful set, thank you. I'll give a shout out to Audrey Stirk, who all the decor, her tablecloths, thank you, Audrey, if you're here. And Benjamin Moore. And what's really fun, Benjamin Moore's our little centerpiece. Alex, our featured speaker, will get a proper introduction from Stacey, did a recent collaboration. You'll see this fun little palette to peruse and consider, but we're excited for all of your support and sponsorship, and I'm going to pass the reins over to Stacey. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Olivia, and thank you again, everyone, for coming. I'd like to remind everyone to turn off their phones. However, you may want to keep them out to make notes, because Alex is an incredible source, and it's a history of decorating 101. I am thrilled today to be here with my dear friend and colleague, Alex Papachristidis, who probably for most of you needs no introduction. Alex is an esteemed decorator for many, many years. He's been on every important list from the AD 100 to the Elle Decor A list. He decorates homes all over the world, and last year received the Albert Hadley Lifetime Achievement Award from the New York School of Interior Design.
That makes me old.
Never old. But today, we are going to look at many of Alex's beautiful projects that are featured in his new book, The Elegant Life, which is coming out in next month. And while we don't have books today, we do have book plates that Alex will be signing afterwards outside that you can attach into your books when you receive them. Yep. After purchasing them. So, you ready?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so let's start here. And this is a project in Greece, right, Alex?
Right, so this was a kind of amazing project because we got a phone call and this wonderful couple wanted me to fly to Athens. So I flew to Athens, and she had this wonderful scrapbook, collections of things that she had loved of my work. The apartment was literally 2 blocks away. So when I was a child, at 8 years old, we went to Greece to visit. I'm Greek. And my mother was this Auntie Mame character who just was magical. She had the most incredible taste and joie de vivre. We went to Greece for the summer. We stayed 2 years. We lived in Athens, in Kolonaki Square. I went to Greek school the first day. They took out a ruler and beat the child because he was talking. I went home, told my mother, she said, "You'll never step foot in that school again." So I went to the American Community School, and we lived in Greece, and I learned to speak Greek fluently living there. 2 blocks away, 50 years later, this older couple is building an apartment in Athens at the top of Kolonaki Square, and they interview me. And there was some kind of just wonderful kismet between us. And I had a year to decorate and design and build this apartment. And it was just magical. And every time I do a project, I sort of try to have an inspiration. And the inspiration for this project was the Villa Kirlos, which, if you've never been to, is one of the most amazing houses in the south of France.
One of the notes to make on your phone.
Oh, it's magical. It's like nothing else you've ever seen. So it's sort of a Grecian villa built in the 1920s by a rich Frenchman. So it's got that wonderful sort of incredible sensibility, and it's super stylish. So this was sort of my inspiration, but in my own interpretation, in my own way. So this entrance hall is all in marble. and it's 3 different marbles inlaid, and incredible bronze railings that we made, antiquities, 18th century furniture. And it was the cutest thing. So when the client saw the apartment, he said to me, and I don't know if you know Greeks well, but they're quite full of themselves and tough. And he says to me, "Well, I'm surprised." And I said, "At what?" "How much I like it." So it was really adorable.
But what was it like doing a project in another country so far away?
The easiest thing I've ever done in my life. The Greek, and I'm Greek, so I can say, I don't normally consider the Greeks, but they were unbelievable. They would hand me, I would say, this is my inspiration. I'd send them a picture. Can you please, I would have a sample within 2 weeks made out of wax to approve. Everything they did was unbelievable. The entire construction, soup to nuts, gutting the apartment, finished and decorated in a year.
That's incredible.
I live in New York. You can't, get a fabric in a year, let alone gut and renovate an apartment in a year. So it was just unbelievable. And the client had asked me, because of the tax reasons, would I do a lot of things in Europe? And I said, of course. So it was really fun. We can keep going with the slides. And it was really fun because, so this is the living room. So I got the wonderful experience to work with Decor in Paris, which is the great French upholsterer who worked for everyone from, the Rothschilds to Hubert de Givenchy to sort of all the great style icons of Europe. It's the great upholsterer there. And they were so wonderful because, it's a family-run business, and they opened their books to me, and I got pictures of every style of every sofa made for the Agnellis. And so, it was an incredible resource, and it was super fun. And I went back to Paris. It's like having a couture dress made. You go for fittings and look at the sofa in all its different incarnations. And it was just magical. So this room's wonderful. Marble floors, parquet de Versailles, a pair of Jacob chairs from Carlton Hobbs. And I did use New York resources because, again, I'm a New Yorker. I can't not shop in New York. And there's a wonderful Hickley chair in the room. And I don't know if you're familiar with Philippe Hickley, who's a sculptor, but he also did this wonderful furniture. And the first time I saw it was in Henri Samuel's apartment in Paris, the great French decorator. And then there's this wonderful story. So if you can see in here, there's this green table. Well, it's made out of bone, and it's inlaid with brass and tin. So we have adorable friends in Paris who we were having lunch with, and they took us shopping. And my partner, Scott, who's here, he always comes on shopping trips, and he loves to run ahead and come back and report on what he's seen and found. He comes running out of this back door room, and he's like, "Al, you've got to get in here right away." And I go in, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what is it?" And we found this incredible table. And the Met was thinking about buying it, but decided not to because of that it was bone and they didn't want to import it. And we got it for an incredible price from the dealer because they had it and they just didn't know what to do with it. And it was just this beautiful, incredible 18th century games table. So those are sort of the fun things that make a project interesting. And then my favorite artist, Eve Kaplan, made the lamps.
Right.
She's incredible. She's an 18th century furniture restorer who worked for Gerald Bland restoring furniture, and he would see her ceramic and realize that she could make these wonderful things. And I use her in all my different projects, making custom-made things for me.
But one of the things I just have to point out is you have to have an incredible eye to recognize these things when you see them.
Well, you just have to shop hard. And God knows I'm a shopper. So again, so the apartment, the building, and this is always the challenge in decorating. So the building was built in the 70s, and it was a beast, okay? But I couldn't change the outside of the building. I couldn't rip out the windows because of the facade. So I couldn't. So this room, the whole room is windows. And I just felt like the proportion was wrong. So when I gutted the room, I did these wonderful panels on the side that are openable, but they're made out of the oak so that it looks like it changes the proportion of the room and makes it more of a classical shape. And did the entire room in oak. The coffee table's custom made by a favorite of mine, Hervé van der Straten. And the lamps are my dear friend, Christopher Spitzmiller, who's here somewhere, who again, he always makes tons of beautiful things for me, and that's the Alex lamp he makes, and we did it in gold. I've used antique Japanese textiles in the room. The other table's Laverne, and Beauvais custom made the carpet for me. And I'm a funny one. I usually start with my favorite fabric and then design the carpet and the room around it because I'm such a fabric textile person. And that's that for that room. So the client had written a book on Greek and Roman sculpture. So I hired this wonderful decorative painter from Paris, Delphine Nenny, and I brought her to Athens. And as a surprise for the client, we created a Pompeian garden on the walls. But I put the 4 sculptures that she had written the book on in each corner of the room as a surprise for her. So it's sort of, again, I love the idea of personalizing interiors and making them reflective of the client. The chandelier is Eve Kaplan, again, the artist that I love. It's made out of ceramic, and they had to take it on a pulley, unpacked, up 7 floors. It's made out of ceramic. I couldn't breathe. I was so, it had taken a year to make the chandelier. It had shipped to Greece from New York. I was like, oh my God. Well, it made it intact, one of the miracles of decorating. And the table is set by my wonderful partner, Lisa McCarthy, who's also here. We do a wonderful table line, Everyday Elegance. And again, it's a collection of new things and antique silver and new dishes. And I love the layering and the mixing and the custom-made linens. The chairs I bought, again, in Stamford, Connecticut. And the credenza is another custom piece from Hervé van der Straten, mixed with, 19th century Greek vases that I turned into lamps.
Amazing. And what about the grill in the window? So
the grill's in the window. So the light and the view was so incredible in the apartment. And I'm such a curtain person, but I was like, not this time. So I made these bronze, and again, the Greeks did it for me like that. These incredible bronze panels that opened and closed as sort of like screens. And they're just so beautiful, and that you see through them. So you still see the view, and you still see it, but it has this just sort of divine layer of decoration. And that did come from an interpretation, again, from the Villa Kirlos.
Yeah, incredible. I don't think there was anyone more suited to doing all of this custom artisanal work than you.
This is the terrace with an incredible, so every room looks at the Acropolis in this apartment. So it's kind of crazy chic. So God forbid I should buy 1 line of outdoor furniture. Of course, I have to mix 4 different lines of outdoor furniture. And, it's got to be a little bit of this and that and antique and vintage. Anyway, so the issue here was there was this weird beam that went across. It was part of the building. I couldn't tear it down, and it was just sitting there. And I thought, well, that just looks odd. But again, one of the great decorating lessons is if you can't get rid of it, make it look good. If it's ugly and it doesn't work, make it pretty. And so I came up with this plaster frieze that I wrapped around the entire terrace so that it made sense. And it sort of made that into kind of a view and an open window.
It frames it. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I was like, well, I got to figure this one out.
Hide it in plain sight.
Yes, exactly, Stace. Hide it in plain sight. Otherwise, it's like, what's that? So this is a house for a young family, and she is fearless with color. She just loves it, and I thought, great, fun. Let's have fun. So, we did a wonderful, colorful carpet, colorful art. One of my carpets running up the stairs, Manuel Canova fabric, Syrian furniture, just fun, cheerful, and they live in this house and they enjoy it so much. She's got 3 boys, and she can have up to 25 people staying in this house with her. And it's just worn, and it's practical, and it's comfy, and it's fun, and it's happy.
It's a beach house in the Hamptons.
It's a beach house in the Hamptons. Right. This is the dining room. And again, the tables open and close. You can make 2 tables. You can make 1 table. There's no carpet in the room because they entertain a ton, so it's got to be practical. The floors have to be washable. I had Gracie make these fun panels because I needed something big in scale, and it just didn't feel like we wanted artwork in there. So Gracie made these wonderful sort of tree scenes with I had each boy choose his favorite animal, and we put those animals into each panel so that, it was a conversation piece, and it was something that was personalized to the family. You know, a fun Clarence House fabric. I love using animals in my interiors, so there's a wonderful sort of wood deer on the floor. I love the use of nature and animals in interiors.
Better than seeing it in real life.
Oh, I like them in real life too. I mean, I love animals.
No, I know you love animals.
I don't like natural nature. I like man-manipulated nature. I like sculpted gardens. I don't want to go like into the woods by myself where nobody's taking care of it. I like the gardens of Versailles that have been developed by someone. Yes. She knows me well. Again, yummy, fun family room, overdyed carpet, canova curtains, Swedish credenzas, custom-made mirrors, Japanese planters. I love, again, an animal garden seat, elephants. Big, fresh, happy, cheery room. Clients love L-shaped sofas. I used to think they were so suburban, and now I've kind of gotten over it. And I'm just used to them. And they are comfortable, and you can lie down in each corner, and you can watch TV, and, you got to be a little practical. Just make them chic. That's all I say. If you have to have an L-shaped sofa, make it chic.
I like that you're so adaptable.
I am. Ish.
And it looks like the house has a very nice flow to it.
It does, and all the rooms open onto each other. But again, because of that, you need to use a lot of upholstery and curtains and carpets to soften the sound barrier, because imagine 3 boys running around a big open house, you have no peace. So you need to keep all that soft goods to make it absorb the noise. Just a happy, cheery kitchen. And so, like, my one trick pony thing is a Saarinen table. I am obsessed with a Saarinen kitchen table. I mix it with different chairs, but there's just nothing more practical. It wears like iron. It's like a workhorse. It's the best thing in the world. So I love a Saarinen table. And I love a white kitchen. I mean, I love all kinds of different kitchens. Again, there's so many. It's so nice to be a decorator because you get to have every fantasy you want. You can get that green kitchen out of your head. You can get that blue kitchen out of your mind. You can have a mahogany kitchen. You can have every. We at home in New York, we have a strapped and antique mirrored kitchen because I'm not such a cook and neither is my partner, so I wanted my kitchen to look like a bar. But I love the idea of, I like so many different things, and that's what's fun. You get to really live all your fantasies decorating for everyone.
Yeah, and I love how the Saarinen table can be mixed with either modern or traditional.
Totally.
It's a great base.
Well, and also the tulip chair that you can actually use with the Saarinen table is amazing. And it's great because it's super small, it's super easy to use that tulip chair, and you don't have to move it. It swivels.
And
so in a tight space, it has no legs.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about that table. It's very hard to have a table that you have to negotiate around the legs. And then when there's an apron. So this table is just super practical and indestructible. I mean, your kids can do an art project, it comes off. And you have to have those spaces. I mean, there always needs to be a practicality to life. Living room, craze. Again, I said she's fearless of color. We started with that wonderful Brintrick and Fee fabric, which I just love. I love the combination of blue and green. I'm just obsessed with that. I think my color card's blue and green. I mean, I have this weird blue and green thing. Whenever I look at my own decorating, I'm like, boy, you use a lot of blue and green. But it's always different versions. I never repeat a print. Once a print's used, it's dead to me. So, that print was used and I love it and I'm happy, but it's over. And again, one of those fun Indian over-dyed carpets that wear like iron. That carpet's a workhorse. You could spill a Coca-Cola on that and it comes out. It's just great.
And I love the mirrors.
The mirrors are fun. So the mirrors are from Fortuny, and they're by this wonderful, what's his name? Morales is his first. This wonderful man who takes found parts and puts them together. Mm-hmm. So they're always different, baking dishes and car parts, and makes these wonderful mirrors and sometimes paints them colors. And I love that. I love that they're unique all the time. I love that you can go back to the same artist, but every time it's something different.
And I love how the furniture's movable.
Well, I always believe in that, Stacey. I believe that rooms should have a lot of pull-up furniture because you never know. I like that it's very cozy and inviting, and a friend can move this chair over there, and two people can be chatting here, and I just love that. And I always love a bit of wicker in a room. Even though I'm Mr. Fancystein, I still like a little bit of wicker. And a nice thing about a wicker chair is you can move it around. It's nice and light, and that's a wonderful wicker chair that I bought at the Paris flea market.
Yeah, wicker never gets old in any environment.
This is the master bedroom, and I always like a bedroom that's sort of serene. But the room was so cavernous, we needed something sort of architectural. So that's why I made this 4-poster bed, but I didn't dress it. I dressed it in, again, another darling friend of mine who's here, Jane Scott, Leontine Linens, who makes me beautiful things all the time for all my jobs. And I do use a lot of my friends. But you know what? They're also, most of them are my friends because I was a customer, and I loved what they did so much that we realized we have this connection and rapport, and we work together so well, and that's sort of really fun too in my business. And then I love to buy vintage upholstery, so I bought that wonderful little slipper chair in Hudson, New York that was Parrish Hadley, and the armchair is Siri Mon, a great decorator, wonderful English decorator who I love, and whenever I find her furniture, I buy it. A little John Dickinson side table, a chic Albrazy table that Liz O'Brien made for me in that fun color. And again, there was a Syrian cabinet in the entrance hall. I love to sort of have that continuity. I found a Syrian armoire and put it in the master bedroom. And so I'm on the board of this charity, ARF, Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons. We have a great thrift shop. I bought those 2 little chic chairs from them. They were in mahogany, and I pickled them and whitewashed them and put them in a chic fabric. And I think those chairs were, I don't know, $250. Not by the time I was done with them, but when they started.
I think there's a chalky white adjustment in every one of your projects.
Oh, please. If people say, if you stand in one place too long, I'll chalky white you.
Now, this was a builder's house, right?
Yeah, it was a builder's house. So I had to sort of make it cozy and just decorate it because they wanted to be in fast. They wanted to enjoy it, and they didn't want to do a lot of construction. So we moved in quick.
Yeah. And now we have a whole nother take on a beach house.
Yeah. So this is a very special house. The cover of the book is this house. It's the dining room, which I'm not showing you here, but it's in the book again. So this is my divine, divine sister's house, who I love so much. And we are so close. And she lost her house to a nor'easter years ago. And we all moved into a big house in Bridgehampton. And they had this incredible site on the ocean that they worship. My brother and sister-in-law are just like beach bums. Again, they always say, if I had never lived, they would live in a totally different way. But they live the way they should, because I did live.
According to you.
Yeah, of course. No, according to them, too. They love their houses. They love everything they had. But they're like, Al, if you weren't here, we would live in like a hut. So it's really, really cute. So my sister, when she lost her house, we rebuilt the house. We got all the permits. It was a nightmare. It took years to do. It's on pilings. It's an upside-down house. It's so complicated to build on the beach now. Anyway, so she said, here's what I want. I want it gold, silver, and white. I want it to look nothing like our family house, so I don't want a shingle house. I want it stucco and limestone. Go with it and make it happen. I'm like, great. Love it. So it's a stucco house, but with a shingle roof. So it sort of brings it down a bit. I don't have pictures of the outside of the house here, but it's in the book. So this is the entrance hall. So this is the downstairs entrance hall, and the walls are stucco. The entire house has limestone floors, but every room has a different pattern in the same stone. So it's about the level of detail, but again, it's never jarring.
I think that's brilliant. I just think that's a brilliant segue from room to room.
Right. That
very subtle.
It's not like we didn't pay attention. We did, because God forbid we shouldn't analyze everything. But it's just flows, and it's very fresh and opened. Here I have a wonderful John Dickinson hanging console. Again, John Dickinson was a great decorator, and if you're not familiar with his firehouse, please look it up. He lived in a firehouse in San Francisco. He made furniture that, crazily enough, was sold at Bloomingdale's. So when Bloomingdale's was chic and they had these vignettes, his furniture was sold there. And it's incredibly stylish furniture. And I buy it whenever I see it. So this is a hanging console made out of wood from Louis Bofferding, a pair of Giacometti lamps sitting on it with the straw shades, again, back to my love of wicker, and these wonderful Charles of Paris sconces. The mirror's plaster by Mark Benkowski. And so, again, my sister and I, we had this incredible mother. And I was at Paul Kasman Gallery one day, and my mother always loved Brancusi and sculpture and art and beauty. And I saw this big, beautiful bronze sculpture, and it reminded me of my mother. So I right away took a picture of it and sent it to my sister, and she's like, it's fabulous. So we bought it and made a pedestal for it and put it in the entrance hall. And it's sort of an ode to our mother, which, again, I love. It's out of respect and love. And there's just a little 18th century stool. So, the 18th century is so important to me.
Yeah.
So I keep going back there, even in my modern moments, because it's that proportion that's always just so good. The living room. So the living room, I wanted something kind of glam and 70s, so I designed these cantilevered brass sofas that are in velvet with cotton pillows. The walls were inspired by Brooke Astor's library, that fabulous red library that Albert Hadley did, but I did it in white instead of shiny brass, I did it with brushed brass strapping. Over the mantel hangs an Anish Kapoor. The room that flows into the living room it's the first time I ever did it, but it's incredible. It's an indoor-outdoor room where the walls go into the ground. So because the house is an upside-down house and the living rooms are upstairs, there is a lower level. But this lower level is for storage, and there's a basement where the doors and windows can go down into the floor.
I think we have a picture of it later.
I don't think it's in this presentation. It's definitely in the book. So you can be either sitting outside with columns, or you can be in the winter enclosed with a heated floor and a fireplace with windows and doors. It's really, really special. But again, I learned that when there's an overhang on the side of a room, the room becomes dark. And I hate that. I hate a dark living room. So when we built the house, I made a skylight. But whenever you've seen a skylight, it's so cheesy and it looks buildery and it's tacky, and then a pigeon's walking on the skylight and it feels like the birds and it's just depressing and no. So I recessed the skylight, dropped the ceiling, and put white glass on the inside, so you never see what's going on the roof. There's a window up there, but we never see it. And then I lit it so that at night, the whole ceiling glows, and it's strapped, but the ceiling glows at night. So you're sitting in this living room that's like a light box. Again, I hate dark rooms. I like a light, bright house. The chairs are 18th century from the flea market. The candlestick is this huge scale crazy thing from Louis Bofferding with rock crystal, 18th century. And the curtains are in a sheer with a wonderful faux bois pole made by Joe Buno. And hanging here are these wonderful chandeliers that I created the ceiling for. They hang like a big, my sister loves jewelry, so they're like a big pair of earrings by Hervé van der Straten again.
It's all about the scale.
Yeah, it's the scale and the play of it and the whimsy.
Yeah, and I think games tables are like a hugely underrated element.
It's a place you can have dinner in your living room. We're Greeks, so we're big card players. So we play cards all the time. We use that games table constantly. We play a Greek card game called Bariba, which, oh my God, if you like cards, look it up. It's fun, fun, fun. And we also play Rummy Cube, which we love. But we use that games table all the time.
And I love those sofas. They remind me of little 70s.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
I love the
Gabrielle
70s.
Crespi.
I grew up in the 70s, going to Xenon and Studio 54 and living in New York and having fun. And it was such a glamorous time. Everybody was toothpick thin. Everybody was chic as hell. And New York was exciting and interesting. And everybody mixed, and it was fun. And it was
just like your furniture.
Yeah, a little bit, exactly. So in the living room are a big pair of, again, L-shaped sofas in gold lame, and over one is a wonderful mirror that Eve Kaplan made for me, and you can see her inspiration of the 18th century.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like a Georgian mirror, but it's made out of ceramic. I love that. The coffee tables are Ingrid Donay, who, again, if you're not familiar with, she's amazing, from the Carpenter's Workshop. They're like jewelry. They're made out of bronze. So by the time I ordered those coffee tables and shipped them to New York, the price had doubled. She's like an artistic furniture maker, and her things are very much in demand. Again, a wonderful little ginkgo lalonde chair, a Stengel self-portrait, a pair of 18th century chairs. So, and I love symmetry. I try to always create symmetry in a room, but coziness. The pillows are woven leather. You know, it's all about those textures and the mix of things.
Yeah, and I think what's so important is that you know, people think that there's a difference between decor and art, but a lot of your furnishings are actually functional art.
Well, I think that everything should be functional and things should be used. You know, it's called your living room because you're supposed to live in it. So, you know, every room should be used. I mean, our house, people come to our house in the Hamptons, they're like, oh my God, it's so formal. Well, those sofas have been in that Clarence House fabric for 30 years. There have been dogs sitting on them. There have been children sitting on them. You know, they get used. So I don't care what your taste is or isn't, whether it's formal or casual, but make sure your homes are used. And that's what makes a home special. So there's a pair of hallways off the center gallery, and I had Gracie create Japanese waves that I put down the hallways. Then the architect and I worked together. The stone floors have circles in them, sort of taken from the Parthenon, and then on the ceiling, I have antique mirrored panels set into wood ceilings with chandeliers that, again, Eve Kaplan made for me. I wanted lanterns, and those lanterns are made out of ceramic. And then in the hall is a big Dutch chandelier, but again, inspired by a Dutch chandelier that Eve Kaplan made. And the hall is sort of in a stucco, vaulted ceiling, a stone console, a faux bois chair. You know, I love anything with coral or wood. I love carved things that come from nature in rooms. I love the organicness, especially in the country. So this is a TV room, and always, of course, you know, so I grew up watching Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. And I never got over Jeannie's bottle and that sofa, so I love to fill a room with a sofa. And I just think it's the cutest, coziest, warmest thing. You can lie down on it, and in front of where the camera is are French doors onto a terrace. But the room blacks out, and there's a flat screen TV that comes down. So you can sort of snuggle into that room and watch TV. The coffee table's Carl Springer, and I love Carl Springer. The 19th century gilded rope furniture, which I always love and buy whenever I found it, is upholstered in leather. And I love that sort of juxtaposition of leather on a rope chair. An 18th century Japanese trunk is a side table. Jean-Charles de Ravenel made Greek collages for us for the room, a wonderful photograph from Maison Girard, and that sort of brings depth into the room. The walls are upholstered in an Anya Larkin hammered gold fabric, and the sconces are like 5 feet tall. They're these incredible 18th century sconces that I bought from a San Francisco collection from Sotheby's of a project that Michael Taylor had decorated for.
Yeah, don't call Alex when it's a Christie's or Sotheby's auction.
Oh my God. Well, there's so many auctions now, and sadly, we have to shop at auction all the time because there are no more stores. You know, there's so few antique shops. We used to travel everywhere we went, there were antique stores. Now I'm like, you know, there's like one little store. It's so depressing. So I'm constantly shopping at auction.
I know.
So again, growing up in the 70s, I went to a friend's house and he had this steel kitchen. And I thought to myself, okay, store that in the back of your mind. That's awfully chic. So I built for my sister and brother-in-law a brushed steel kitchen. But I felt that the steel was too flat, so I added brass and gold to it and sort of mix the two metals.
Well, I think that's one of your signatures.
Yeah, what mixing metals?
Yes.
You know, I mean, not on me. Like, I would never wear a gold watch with a silver belt.
No, I mean in a...
Yeah, personally, I think you always have to match. I'm not with that. But in interiors, you know, yes. I mean, look, yes, I do it. It depends on my mood. You never know. But I love, because silver sometimes is too flat, and the gold brings that light. And being Greek, of course, we love gold. So again, crazy room. This room is fabulous. So in front of them is a nature preserve. On the right is the ocean. On the left is the bay. And I wanted to create this magical room of sort of like a light box. So I did Jean-Michel Franck paneling, which is the reverse, where the paneling comes forward. And then we commissioned Rob Wynn, the artist, to create a glass bubble installation. So the entire room is covered with glass bubbles. And then there's a Venetian chandelier, Venetian sconces, Cerimon chairs. I walked into Tom Ford one day because my partner Scott's a big Tom Ford customer. It's all he wears. And we walk into Tom Ford one day, and there is this desk. And it was by Chris Schenk, a Brooklyn artist. And I saw it in the Tom Ford store. They had originally had a Lalonde desk, which I had fallen in love with. And I thought, isn't that chic? They gave me the name. I went to Brooklyn, and I found this. And the desk is made out of styrofoam that's gilded. And it's just so chic. But it's
crazy?
Mixed with an 18th century chair. I
course it
love
is.
that play of modern. And Tony Victoria always makes my bedside tables. You press a button, and the drawers open, and the phones and your iPad, and everything's in those drawers. But they're very classical. I hate to see ugly things in a room. I'm just saying. Okay. So this is a young family's beach house, and I was told, 1, 2, 3, I don't want to have anything that isn't natural and organic. I'm like, ooh, okay. So we had to make a lot of things. So I found a cabinet maker who could use no VOCs, no toxic glues, no formaldehyde. I mean, it is kind of crazy if you look at what's in furniture and fabrics. It's a little bit scary. I mean, we almost don't want to know. But, and I went to Studio 4 where she recommended, I did the whole house in white linen, custom-made carpets, everything slip-covered and done in the same fabric. Wonderful chairs I found at Kelly Wersler that I stripped and did an organic finish. Gabriella Crespi side nesting tables, a Papa Bear chair, an Elizabeth Payton painting, Carl Springer console table. So again, and the thing that I tell these young people, if you ever have young clients who want everything natural, antiques are green. Remember that, because we're reusing something.
So true. And unusual.
Just saying again.
Right.
What?
And unusual for you, all one color.
Yeah, but again, I love that. I love a challenge, and I love somebody to come and tell me what they want, and then I sort of do it in my way.
Right, perfect.
Again, custom-made dining room table. The chairs are in a boutique, vintage chairs. I found that console years ago at a peer show and had it in storage. And then I made a stone top for it. Again, it's a kind of wonderful faux bois. The chandelier is custom from Van der Straten. And the planters are from CB2. I have to say, if you can't find a planter, check out CB2. They have a lot of sort of cute, chic things.
Oh, they have a lot of
good
things.
designers
Yeah.
making things for them. I mean, some of it's a little low end, but honestly, a lot of the planters are handy and easy to
But
use.
there are other things
yeah.
too. Yeah, it's a good source.
Again, Serenade table outdoors with wicker chairs. You know, everyday elegance. My partner and I did the table setting, and I love sort of natural wood. You know, we had the pepper makers, salt and pepper shakers made for us in Paris in a natural wood, and sort of faux bone flatware and young, fresh blue and white dishes. I always love blue and white. I think, you know, we never get sick of that.
Yes, we'll talk about your blue and white porcelain cabinet at some point.
Again, the master bedroom upstairs with a sitting room with antique furniture. Again, all upholstered in natural cottons. A wonderful pair of slipper chairs I found in a vintage store and now I make. I love the side tables. The steel side tables are Jay Spector. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was a decorator. He actually decorated for Mr. Roberts, who owned Clarence House, and Clarence House was all decorated in Jay Spector furniture. It's really chic things. He was a decorator in the 70s, and he had this kind of, did a lot of steel things, a lot of style, really good taste. And again, downstairs in the family room, there's this huge metal coffee table, and it's a piece of art. It's from the carpenter's workshop, and they make beautiful artistic furniture. And then the big wicker sofa, John Roselli custom made for me. Again, a little bit of straw in the playroom, and it's indestructible. You know, what are you going to do to that thick woven rope sofa? The kids can do anything they want.
And what about, do you ever have the fabrics sealed?
Well, we do. You know, again, my cute friend Ashley Whitaker, who's here, the decorator, was telling me about this new spray-on thing. What's it called, Ash? Krypton, that you can spray on anything, and it's supposed to be
very organic.
I know. I'm not sure you should give it to the no VOC clients.
Okay. I just have to introduce this room. This was Alex's Kips Bay room from, what was it, 2016? I don't remember. Anyway, a few years, not maybe.
15? 15.
Okay. This was one of the most spectacular Kips Bay rooms ever on record. This was an epic room. I just have to say that before you talk about it.
Well, you know, it's hard. I don't ever think of anything I do as so special. You know, you always think you can do better, you can do more. It's never good enough. But this room, for me, in my career, got the strongest response of anything I've ever done.
It deserved it. It was incredible.
People went crazy over this room. And again, it was inspired by history. Elsa DeWolf did this paper. She bought an antique paper for Condé Nast in the Waldorf Towers and decorated his apartment with it. She did his ballroom in it, and it was an antique Chinese wallpaper, but it was multicolored, and it was a totally different scale. And you know, it's a very Alex Papachristidis thing to go in and say, I like that, but I want it bigger. So I always blow up the scale of everything because I think it makes it more modern. I think it makes it chicer. And I think if the proportions of the room are big, I always tell Gracie, I don't want the tree like this. I want the tree this thick. I want it to feel more realistic. I don't want it to feel granny. I want it to feel strong and bold and stylish. So we took the paper, we grisailled it. We did it in all gray and white and silver. And it's silver tea paper in the background that we painted over. Something I love to do again. So you get that sort of wet and dry, and it's not too much shine. So the paper was finishing off, and Scott turned to me and said, no. You can't have no color, Alex. That's not you. I said, okay, all right, fine. So I put some purple peonies in one corner and some purple plums in another corner and just added a little bit of color to the room. But the room was all in gold and silver and white. I custom designed the sofa. The tables were from Garrick Stevens, the great antique dealer in New York's auction. A Lalande candlestick, a Roman head, a Francis Elkins silver lamp from Liz O'Brien. Tony made the coffee tables for me, and I had Eve Kaplan make inset molten panels for me.
Those coffee tables were incredible.
Of course, you know, again, one of my signature items, a Christopher Spitzmiller gourd. Big scale filled with candy. Everybody loves that. All the decorators were coming in my room throughout Kips Bay having a big handful of jelly beans. And, you know, these poofs that I love. And then the carpet is Turkish tent panels that are sewn together. And again, I love that we're reusing something in such a chic way. The chandeliers were Georgian 18th century, and Eve Kaplan, Jerry added Eve Kaplan beads to them.
It was fantastic. It's hard to see in this picture, but it was amazing. Really incredible.
18th century chairs, and I love that sort of little heart shape. They were from the great dealer Dalva Brothers. And the consoles, again, so the inspiration for the room was one of my all-time favorite style icons, Mona von Bismarck. She was just fabulous. I mean, she was the it girl of her day. She wore all the best clothes. She was a huge Balenciaga customer, the most beautiful jewelry. These consoles belonged to her. And I loved the idea that Mona von Bismarck's consoles were in this room. They were 18th century French. Eve made the table for me, and Jerry put the brass top on a glass top. The Lalande bench is that famous alligator bench and the little alligator chair. And I love that mix, again, of artisanal furniture and 18th century things.
And you can't see in this picture, but some of the chairs had that beautiful hand-painted...
Yeah, just a few of them.
Yeah.
So I had Gracie, again, hand-paint plums or peonies on a few of the backs of the chairs.
It was beautiful. It was a very pretty touch. And the curtains.
Yep, and Chris did the lamps for me again, but I think they're ombre in silver and gold.
I loved those lamps.
Yeah.
They were incredible. and very elegant, beautiful kind of couture curtains.
Yes, well, I love a ball gown curtain. Again, I'm always inspired by Balenciaga, and we've actually made a few sets of curtains for clients that are styled from Balenciaga evening dresses. Again, Everyday Elegance table. I mix gold and silver. And I found this wonderful Italian garniture in ceramic that I put in the center of the table. Zeze always does my flowers, and I think he's a magician. It's very important, I think, to use a local florist wherever you are. Find the best florist and use someone local. The obelisks are Serge Roche, an incredible furniture maker from the 1940s, the clock 18th century, and the little drawing is by George Condo, the artist. So this is our dining room at home. My partner doesn't like a buffet, but I love a buffet. So easy. You don't have to worry about seating. People call, I'm coming, I'm not coming, can I bring my friend? My husband's sick, my dog threw up. I mean, there's always something when you entertain. So when you seat your dinners, and at that last minute, you're getting ready to go and somebody changes it, that's why I love a buffet. Come, don't worry, no stress. So this is our dining room, and
In the city.
well, it's changed a little bit since then. I bought a new table, but those vases I carried back on the plane from the flea market, and I mean they're this big and they're fabulous. And I was always going to sell them, and they're like, nah, I can't sell them. Blue and turquoise, I'm keeping those. So I use them on our dining room table for buffets. Collect 18th century blue and white porcelain. The chandelier I bought when I was a kid from John Roselli, where I've been shopping since I'm 12. I mean, literally, Miles Red was my salesman at John Roselli. Just to give you how long I've been shopping there. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. The man's a big famous decorator. I mean, and on the west side, so when I was going out to nightclubs, Charivari was my store in New York where I used to shop on the west side. Marc Jacobs was my salesman over there. So I'm just telling you, I'm as old as dirt nearly. I mean, this is getting crazy. That's why they give you a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm turning into Mario. I mean...
Hardly. And if no one's seen it, we did a video with Alex in his city and tabletop video, which was really fun.
Yeah. So, this is our house in the Hamptons. And I hate to kill a tree. I don't know about you, but I hate when they say, oh, we're going to move that tree. They never move it. They kill it. And I hate killing a tree. So when we bought our house, there were all these crabapple trees, and I said, let's just move them all together. And so it created this wonderful area of shade, and they've grown, and we've lived in this house for 22 years, and those trees are in blossom for about 7 seconds. But it's always nice to have a party when those trees are in blossom. So I am one of those people who, as I said, I hate to say no. I love to say yes. If in the Hamptons, everybody's got house guests. Everybody's always got people. So I own all my own tables. Every table has, you know, I make all my tablecloths. They go to the floor. I own all my own ballroom chairs. And I have about 10 different settings for 70. So that, and if I need more, I can mix it and match it. I bought these wonderful pagodas from John Roselli, but I don't like that every table has the same thing. And then I found these wonderful obelisks in California that my friend Nancy Corzine took me to this store and found. And then in the background, you see that little house. It's a garden folly. My sister gave it to her granddaughter as a 4th birthday present. And myself and Kitty McCoy, my architect in the Hamptons, we built and designed this charming little dollhouse. It's the last chapter in my book. And it's all in Mano Canova, and it has Pauline de Rothschild's hand-painted floor in there. And it's just charming and yummy. And Mario and I were friends. And he was a kook, and he sent me this, like, bunny lamp. And I'm like, okay, Mario, that's cute, but what the hell am I going to... So I gave it to Ellen. It's in her little playhouse. And it looks like a bunny rabbit with a hat on it. I'm like, so not me, but... So that's in that little playhouse, and it's in the pictures.
It's adorable.
Again, we love garden sculpture, And we went on a family trip. And if you're not familiar with him, please look him up. He's amazing. Igor Mitarai. He's passed away since. And we went on a family trip to Pietrosanto. And my sister-in-law was great friends with Igor. She's Italian. And we bought this 14-foot tall sculpture that sits in our garden. And it's just incredible. It's this bronze mask. And it's contemporary, but it feels ancient. And it just is so beautiful and staggering. Again, I've kept our garden park-like. So there's only hydrangeas around the house and around the back of the pool. I like greenery. And again, as you can see, it's very sculpted. There's nothing natural about my garden. Vladimir made the dishes for us, and then the dishes. I collect appware from our friend
Eric at La Tuileries.
Eric at La Tuileries.
I own it too.
Yeah, we love it.
We have a shared passion.
Appware is beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so pretty, and it mixes with so many things, and it's just beautiful. So here we have this cute little sunroom in our house that's fun. I love to take dinner to different places in the house. I love that when guests come, the table's always different, that it's never the same dishes mixed with the same objects, with the same flowers, with the same glasses. So that's why you have to shop hard, right? That's why my partner Lisa and I went into the tabletop business and I thought, oh, isn't this great? I'll get this out of my system. No, that didn't work. I just buy more, and every time Lisa and I go shopping, we're like, ooh, we'll take 20 of those for me and 20 of those for me. And
How many coat closets have you taken?
oh, yeah, this is my famous thing. We don't have a coat closet left in the Hamptons. They're all dish closets. I'm like, put the coats in the basement. I don't care. The dishes, I want dish closets. And then I turned the other basement. Oh, you haven't seen that.
No.
I went to a friend's house and I saw one of those big wheeling racks covered in felt. So I had that custom made for the center of the room.
So underneath is
So
it
the
that
whole
metro
room's
shelving?
shelved, so it's all U shelves, and then the center is a floating island with felt on every shelf that you can put more dishes. Oh, I'll send you a picture. It's genius.
My
So
husband
again,
will
the
be
same
thrilled.
room, 2 different tablecloths, different chairs used. So like I love moving the furniture around in the house and putting things in different rooms and that it all works together. Baileiki chairs with the blue Japanese tablecloth. And then with the Count and Tout floral that I had used in the garden, I used chalky white chairs upholstered in a Canova fabric.
Fabulous. And so don't forget to go today or tomorrow to the 1800 house for the Poppy Caravan, where Everyday Elegance, Lisa and Alex's company, as well as Scott's handbag.
Scott Styles' beautiful alligator
company
objects and handbags.
will be having
And
displays.
we did this really fun thing for Everyday Elegance. I realized that people get sick of seeing, you can buy Matahata everywhere. So everything we have is custom made for us. It's all unique. And I think that's really what's fun and interesting. That's what I want to buy. I want to buy things that I'm not going to see everywhere.
So. So I just want to ask, I want to remind everyone that Alex will be signing book plates for his new book outside of this room right afterwards. But in the meantime, I want to ask if anyone has any questions. Okay. Oh, there's one. Someone with a microphone.
Hi, thank you so much. I couldn't wait to be here today, and it did not disappoint. It's beyond what I thought. So I'm just curious if you have that one house that still has evaded you in a certain spot, any place in the world. Is there just that one place that you're going to go to and create one more masterpiece?
So if I could go anywhere, where else would I go?
Or are you asking if he could have a project anywhere?
No. I think you probably have just one place that you have in mind, perhaps, that you still want to go to and still create another home for yourself.
I guess, crazily enough, it could be Greece one day.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
It's a funny thing. So when I went back to Greece 40 years later and I did this project, and I'm not hokey at all. And I'm just not, but I just had this wonderful feeling about Greece, and it just felt very So yeah, I mean, if I really don't believe in this more than 2 houses. I know it's just my theory because I just think you become. I know I'm way too. We were having this conversation with my hostess, and I was just saying I don't know how you do it. She's got houses everywhere, but you have to sort of let go. And she said, she's got great people helping her, and she lets go. I don't know if I'm able to let go. I'd be like calling Greece. What's going on? Is the house clean? The housekeeper's changing. No. Does that need to be reupholstered? Is the air conditioning on? Are the flowers in place? So I'm such a lunatic that I don't know that I could have 3. That's the problem. I think 2 is a lot of work, and it's amazing. I think you take it to that next level. So, Scott's always like, oh, should we have an apartment in Paris? I'm like, no. We should stay in a hotel in Paris. And I don't care how much the hotel costs. It's cheaper than an apartment.
I've been in on that conversation before.
Probably a little bit of screaming going on. But truthfully, you go to a hotel, I can just call downstairs and scream. You know what I mean? I could just complain. I don't like this, I don't like that. But, in an apartment, it's your problem. So, but if it would be Greece. Thank you all for coming. It really means the world to me. And this is my first, just so you know, this is my first book launch here. So I just want you to know it's very special, and it'll always be very sentimental to me. And thank you for having me. Thank you.